This is an ankh from ancient Egypt. This is also an ankh from ancient Egypt. And as we can see on this, we have the Eye of Horus, which represents the pineal gland. Horus as well is, the word is an anagram of hours. And in a previous video I showed that this isn't a winged disc, but it's representative of the winged disc, which is basically a representation of the Trinity, and it's linked in with creation and energy and higher consciousness and all that kind of stuff. This is also an ankh. This is an anchor. Obviously related to boats, which are related to Phoenicians. And anchors weigh boats down and stop them moving. And it's interesting, when you look at pictures of anchors, you find that many of them, apart from the fact that they are made of solid, high quality iron, steel, many representations have the rope like this. And we've all seen this kind of symbology before. It's very serpent-like, very, sort of caduceus. So I found that interesting. Ankhs and anchors. And of course we have Angkor Wat. I have no idea how that ties in, but the name does. Alright, so I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Ankhs to anchors. Don't really know what it means, but leave comments if that, if you can find any relations through that. I'm just, because it's Phoenician, and it looks like the ankh was all about growth and energy and consciousness and expansion, and anchors are there to weigh things down and stop them. So interesting. Alright guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic. Today I just wanted to have a look at some old world buildings and what they actually look like when they were found, and how things may have been changed, and we may not be seeing what we actually think we are seeing when we look at some of these old temples. We know that Stonehenge was rebuilt. Basically the stones were stood back up again. Was that in the right way? Has it been done the same, or has something been changed? So I've got that and a few other little bits to have a look at, so stick around, let's get into this. So I came across this, fake ruins, and apparently it's a thing that people are building, or saying they are building, are fake ruins. Europe was once obsessed with fake, dilapidated buildings. And we have this picture here. I think I've got a larger one here. You can see this. Look at the doorways, the shape of those doorways. Look at the building, thick walls, stone. It looks like an ancient ruin, doesn't it? It looks like an old world building. And it says down here, if you walk through the Belvedere House Gardens and Park in Westmeath, Ireland, a dramatic sight rises through the trees, an enormous shattered abbey. A staircase of broken stones climbing to the sky. Visitors often wonder what imposing building once stood here, but the whole thing is a deception. The ruin, which is called the Jealous Wall, was constructed in this dilapidated state in the 18th century by Robert Rochefort, a man known to history as the Wicked Earl. On either side of the ruin stands a county house. One is beautiful and well maintained, the other a ruin in its own right, overgrown with ivy. The situation came to be often offers a glimpse into the tortured mind of a real-life Gothic villain, and highlights a bizarre architectural fad that swept the decadent world of the 18th century aristocracy. So ruins have always captured the imagination for artists and writers. They are places where time seems to stand still, where we might become lost in a dream, and where the inescapable power of natural forces is in full display. As the German sociologist George Simmerd once put in The Ruin, nature has transformed the work of art into material for her own expression, and she had previously served as material for art. All of this meant that as the 17th century came to an end, the sight of a crumbling abbey or dilapidated temple had become desirable. So now rich landowners all over Europe were building ruins that were not natural. Alright, so here we go, guys. They're just all built as ruins in the 1800s. My gosh. So this, they're saying this is George Rochard's house at Tuddenham. So this is, we've got the ruins here, and apparently on each side there's a house. One is kept and maintained, and this is the other one. That's the house. 3-story massive brick building with huge chimneys, and it was built as a ruin. They built the whole house. Oh gosh. What does it say? He went to jail. Around 1743, Rochford heard rumours that his young wife Mary had been unfaithful to him, and with one of his brothers. Rochford flew into a rage. He refused to speak to Mary and spiraled into paranoia and recrimination so bitter that he eventually had Mary locked up in their family home at nearby Golestown. She was kept alone, other than servants. If she wanted to walk the grounds, she had to ask for permission. Blah, blah, blah. Mary would remain incarcerated in that house for 31 years. Oh, God, it's a bit of a strange story. Here's another house, apparently built as a ruin. As you do. I wonder if they built the waterway, the canal as well. As you can see, it's still going out to really? Come on. What's this? The French made the most outrageous statement of all in the Desert de Retz, a series of ornamental gardens built in the 1700s. Stands a 6-story tower designed to look like the ruined classical column of a gigantic temple. The Colonne Brisée, or shattered column, known today as the Column House, evokes a kind of connection to the ancient world that is half satire, half dream. Built to look like the base of one of the columns of the Pantheon, blown up to titanic proportions, the viewer... these things are all over the place. The viewer has a surreal... the viewer of this surreal ruin is supposed to imagine the size of the building it might have once supported, completed in 1782. Now the question is, how did they build that in 1782, even as a ruin? Only 7 years before the French Revolution, the broken column house seems to represent the excess of the old regime. Another interesting thing, these are all built as ruins, yet they are all still standing. You know, how well were these things built? And why? And this is an article on mental floss, fake it until you make it 10 artificial ruins. Here's the first one. Now that one, apart from the fact that it looks pretty old with all this, what's that called? Patina, all this patina, this discolouring makes it look old. But looking at that possibly could, I've got videos of it by the looks of it. You can go away. It's called Sham Castle. That's great. Wimpole Folly. What? Wimpole Folly. Okay, so one's called a sham and one's called a folly. That's great. So they built this as ruins. This huge tower with a house behind it, windows and everything, and walls coming out here. was built as a ruin. Building a structure that looks as if it's crumbling does not preclude having to perform regular maintenance. The 4-storey Gothic tower known as Folly in Rimpolly, Cambridgeshire, England, was built 1768 to 1772. So these are all 1700s, they're saying. Now, how did they build that, even as a ruin in the 1700s? And if they have the tech to do that, you know, the question, why would you build a ruin, like all the work that goes into that, and then they turn around? It just doesn't make sense. That's just ridiculous. 1700s, you know, there's not much manufacturing. You know, we don't have glass, you know, manufacturing and things like this. Definitely not easily, not big pains. Just getting all the materials, and then all the you know, workmen and stuff to get this built, laying the ground, you know, putting all the foundations in. This is a big job. And why would you do all that? And they're sort of saying, well, this is just the rich people and they had all this money, so they just did it. Really? Why weren't they building industries? Why weren't they, you know, increasing their fortunes with all this spending? And who are the people who built these anyway? You know, do we get any names here? This one was built for Philip York, the first Earl of Hardwicke. Well, so who built it? Owned by Britain's National Trust. Here's another one. I mean, you know, yeah, fair enough. Someone could build that in their backyard. Then we get to stuff like this. Roman ruins built in a garden ornament for the 1441-room Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna. So this this is outside a palace, but this is fake. And see, they've even, to show you it's fake, we even have bits of, you know, it's not finished, see? They've left bits of rock around. They built this statue without a head. This one got a head. He was lucky. See, if you stand in the right position, you can get ahead in life. And it's just making it look like it's crumbled. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and that's not a huge structure, that one, so who knows? Some of these, I'm sure, are reconstructions. What? I mean, how big is this? That looks like a fairly big structure. You know, bits of aqueducts. I don't know. What do you reckon, guys? Someone here built an aqueduct. Again, built in 1778. And this in Hungary. And these, look where they are. You know, they're saying it was a fad, but what have we got? Germany, England, Austria, Hungary. It's not like, normally when you get a fad, it would be like there'd be heaps of these in one country. Like you'd find a ton of them in England and then maybe a few in other places. But you don't normally just find that if it's a fad for the rich people, you know, one in each country. You know, here again, 1700s, built this as a ruin in the 1700s. Or so they say. This as well. On top of a rock, as you do, make it as hard for yourself as possible. Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux designed Central Park in the mid-1800s. Oh, is that in Central Park? There you go. Lots of interesting stuff in Central Park. There's a big, what looks like a buried temple. You can only just see the sort of roof popping out. Another one that, you know, that's just, yeah, that looks like a red brick wall. Fair enough. Oh, we've got another one down there. No, we have advertising. Ooh. All right, so, yeah, fake buildings, guys. What do you think? Are they all fake ruins built in the 1700s, or are they just actually real ruins? Because, you know, and they put a lot of these, there's quite a few if you have a look. And, you know, like, look at this. So they're saying that's a fake ruin. I mean, look at these column tops. What this looks like, it does look fake, but it looks like, because look, it's all wrong. So it's all wrong. What this looks like is someone's found a temple that's been smashed over and they've just put it back together in kind of the most bizarre and wrong way that you could possibly do it by the looks of it. Look at this column. We've got two bases here, then another square bit, and then the top. Where's the column? Come on, guys, do your bloody research. So this looks old world, definitely. Look at this foundation, but yeah, this looks like someone's just come in and started stacking stuff up. And I wonder if that's what happened in a lot of them, if they just found ruins and just kind of, rebuilt them a bit and said, oh yeah, we just rebuilt that. So there you go, fake ruins. And, like I said, if you Google this, there's tons of them. I mean, look, are they saying that's fake? Fake. Chapel fake. What? It's all fake, guys. It's all fake. All just built as ruins for no particular reason. And this is our Mayan pyramids before Reconstruction. Did you know? So if we come down here, we get pictures like this. This is Chichen Itza. And as you can see, when it was found, it looked like that. And one thing to notice is how similar does that look to the castles that people have been pointing out recently that sit on top of hills, just have the top bit poking out, and then down the hill you have all these other bits. But that's one of the pyramids before they uncovered it. So we also know that Stonehenge was basically rebuilt. And see, a lot of these things were found broken, like smashed, these old temples, and they were reconstructed, which is what I think all this fake stuff is. I think it's the exact same thing. It's just that some got reconstructed, put back together a bit better than others. So here's just a few different images of what sort of went on and what they were finding, like this one here. This is Chichen Itza as well, but you can see a lot of the time when these were found, this is what they found. Now, obviously with a lot of these, it was just uncovering them, unburying them, especially the big pyramids and that. But how many of these, temples and things have been reconstructed and maybe reconstructed the wrong way? Look at this. This is the foot of the serpent pyramid. I'm sure you've all seen that, where serpents go up, and on certain solstice you can see a serpent running down the stairs. 1884. So this is what it looked like when they got there, completely overgrown. And we're still finding, they are still finding, all throughout the Amazon and South America, they're still finding buildings like this. Oh, where have we ended up here? Oh, Mesoamerica. This one. So yeah, look at that massive big stone gate. Trees all over it, half buried. Again, that's very similar. Hang on, is that, have I done the right? No. Well, what have I done? Oh my god. Let's have a look at this one. So yeah, this kind of thing. And again, how similar does that look to the, what we're looking at as castles up on hills? Look at that one. It's a pyramid in Mexico. Does that not look like... It's not the biggest picture, but can you see that? We've got domes and we've got temples up here. That's the top of a pyramid in South America. So how many pyramids have we got, guys? Are all these mounds and hills and stuff that we're looking at pyramids? Look at these. Sorry again that the pictures aren't very big. They're all pretty old. You can kind of see they're just a big pile of mud. With the top of the pyramid sticking out the top. We've got 3 of them there. And another one. So yeah, how many, you know, of these pyramids that we see around, or these structures on hills, these old castles and things, how many of them really are pyramids? Like this is sort of halfway through the unburying, you know, the unveiling. There's a whole pyramid under there. Pretty interesting stuff, and this is how they end up when they're all cleaned out. So like I said, these pyramids just seem to be uncovered. But with the temples and other things that are being rebuilt, you know, these fake, you know, are they being rebuilt the same way? Is it part of, I don't know, just hiding history, or has it got something else to do with destroying, you know, grids and earth grids and stuff like that? Who knows? More and more questions. And there's this statue, this, I'm not sure, Apuntes para del Mundo. I think it, you know, that's Spanish. I think it's South America. It's definitely not Egypt, but look at this dude. Look at the headdress he's got on. How Egyptian does that look? Pretty interesting. And there's this whole, you know, many people are talking about, you know, tunnels and like I've been mentioning, you know, are all these hills and mountains and things, are they actually old castles, pyramids, things like this with interiors and rooms and stuff inside? Now this, that's the whole picture. I think this is basically rock. Well, what we're told, a rock, what looks like rock, and you can see they've brick. This is all brick that they've added to it, but look at that, they're living inside it, like it's all cut out. The houses are inside this big rock wall. And these are all pictures, this is another one, of people living in caves and underground. And you see it again. Now look at that, isn't that interesting? Just the formation there looks like it's sort of gone bleh. But, you know, and look at that, that's been chiseled off by the looks of it. That's a perfectly flat front of a rock, and then, yeah, they're just living in there. Again, so what, you know, what's the deal with what's inside these, you know, rocks, mountains, hills? Are there tunnels in there? Is it like the Lord of the Rings told us, you know, it's full of dwarves, you know, tunnels full of treasure. So as you can see, I mean, this has obviously been added on, they're built in, but obviously a big cave behind there. These are sort of the more natural type cave. Actually, that could be fake. That looks like sprayed cement or something. But you get things like this with all the stalactites and what looks natural. Oh gosh, is that natural? Maybe it's not. But others look carved, almost, like they've just moved in. Look at the ceiling on this. And we see these, you know, in grottos and stuff all over the place. Here's another one of people just digging in. And we see this in the US a lot. Look at that, just living in the side of this huge, what is this? Is this, you know, like, look at this big point. What is that? Is this an old structure that's been hit by something, or something's happened and it's kind of turned into what we see here, but the interior is still there, or at least still partly there, and is that where these people are living? And you can kind of see a line of stuff along here, and another one up the top there. So this is the thing, like, you know, all over the world, people are doing this already, living inside mountains and hills. Look at that. And there's one in a big rock in India, and it's been carved, and it's huge, and you can just walk inside it, and it's got these huge, perfectly right angle carvings in it. Looks like this is another one. Here we go, someone living inside the side of this hill. Some interior shots. So this is something that's going on it seems, inside here. And look at this. That is that an old building that's just been exposed, been filled up. I mean, look how low that is to the ground. If you were building this, you wouldn't do that because water would go in. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of show you a few bits and pieces. Again, underground. Look at that. Very nicely carved. That's a hotel in New Mexico. So these people just finding these, you know, like they do with the buildings, moving in, refitting them and saying, look what we just built. You know, things like this. What's going on here? People are living inside mountains and hills. Look at this. Bizarre. Did you know that this was going on? Again, just living in the side of the mountain. What's that? And they're just sitting out on their back. Got their old world fireplace. But yeah, it's like that. What we're told is a mountain or a cliff or something. And there's all these houses built into it. So interesting. So I just wanted to share that information with you, just sort of add to the collective conscious. So please leave me a comment on what you think about all this. You know, are all mountains, you know, old buildings, or at least a lot of them pyramids? Because, you know, the signs are there. People are living in them. We see all the holes. We see all these funny melted things. We see the building, like the castles that literally seem to sort of become the rock that they're sitting on. All these strange things, you know, the whole geological, looking at geology as the way that they tell us, you know, as far as layer build-up and formations and things, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, when you think about layers, why would layers build up and be different compositions? You know, like, I don't know, that's, you know, why would you get the different colours in the striations, the different colours of layers? Like, why is there different stuff coming in seasonally? Different types of whatever to make different coloured earth. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And the physical evidence that we get is there's holes in these places. So how big are they? What's really in there? And how much, you know, do those in the know? And, you know, what's in there? Is there treasure in there? Is there tech in there? Are there, you know, other races down there, other beings? You know, we hear all these, obviously, you know, underground tunnels is a big topic at the moment, and dumbs and all this. And then there's all these rumours of, you know, alien-like sort of creatures, you know, reptilian-y type creatures living down there, the jinn and all this kind of stuff. So many questions, you know, do these all link up? Who knows? I think I'm dribbling, so I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, guys, so leave me a comment. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and of course, if you do want to support this channel, there are links below as well. Thanks for spending some time with me. Have an awesome day, and I shall catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.